So many of you were asking to show how to paint a dandelion, and I thought, yes, it's time to do that. I'm Olga Koelsch, watercolor artist, educator, and a book author. Welcome to my studio. For dandelion, we will need different yellows you have in your palette. Ideally lemon yellow, and maybe a little bit darker and more warm yellow. Let's start with the lightest one. With yellows, it's very easy to identify which yellow is the lightest in your palette. Start with the lightest one and with round brush. Imagine that here will be our dandelion. And dandelions, they usually have very tiny, little, very small, growing in different directions brush strokes. So I arrange them, I move my wrist freely in different directions. I apply a little bit more pressure on the body of the brush, then I release the pressure. I try make some of them overlap. My dandelion will be tilted a little bit towards the left, so the middle of the dandelion I leave untouched for now. Just I arrange petals around with lemon yellow, super bright yellow. Where I brush strokes, they can be bigger, they can be a little bit smaller, like this. And then let's mix our next yellow, the one which is a little bit warmer or a little bit darker, more already into the orange, looking more into the orange direction. Now let's paint the middle. Because dandelion is a little bit tilted, that means we have a perspective here, so the farthest petals will be a little bit smaller. I paint them just with brush strokes, basically with the tip of the brush, like this, and the petals looking onto us, they will be a little bit longer. And now we can use the middle. Ideally, if you will be mixing both of yellows for the variety of shades, and you see how more interesting it will look. A little bit of very tiny brush strokes made just with the tip of the brush, added to the bottom petals, that will create sense of shades, and more dense brush strokes in the middle, in the very middle. You can even add touch of green if you have something like May green, or you can mix viridian with lemon yellow and you will get this fresh green around. This is great. And now I suggest we will use burnt sienna or one of your red browns, bright browns, so not sepia but burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is perfect, is a perfect match. And just with very tip of the brush, basically with one or two small dots, we will set up the middle of our dandelion, and with clean and damp brush you can even soften it a little bit and drag out a couple of darker brush strokes that will help to create the depth, and also just one or two brush strokes. around. Now let's paint the green part. I have hookah green deep, I think this green calls, but I would like to mix it a little bit with lemon yellow to create more spring greenery feeling, even with hint of blue which I have on my palette. And usually dandelions, they have very interesting leaf area underneath. Again, with the tip of the brush, I start with the tip of the brush, I press my brush I press my brush on the paper, then I release the pressure. Then I can wash my brush and do the same, but with mostly diluted version. Apply pressure, release the pressure. Little bit pressure, release the pressure. Now I will take the darker option, apply pressure, release the pressure, and create a couple of these fun leaves around. Now let's add a stem. Let's add a stem. I always suggest to paint stems in a curvy way, and imagine that stem starts not here, not there. It should be logically connected to the middle of the flower, and therefore just add a stem. I like to paint stems slightly tinier, smaller than they are in real life to make flowers more fragile. Now let's add one stem with a bud, another stem, and you know this bud, when it is still green, but we can see that there is something yellow is almost on the way. So just with brush strokes I organize this bud and I add yellow, my different shades of yellow to make it more interesting, onto the top of the bud. And of course a little bit of greenery. I here and there mix it with blue, which I happen to have on my palette. Some curvy lines, be playful with this. Basically tip of the brush with some pressure and wiggles around different directions. A couple of darker brush strokes. And let's repeat one more flower right here. This time I will start with brighter yellow. It will be more tilted, even more than this one. So I firstly paint the middle part, basically small simple brush strokes with some white areas around. Then I mix my warm yellow, it's gamboge hue, with lemon yellow to create something in between, not that bright as lemon yellow, not that dark as gamboge. And then in the same way as we painted before, a little bit more diluted even, I create the bottom of the flower. I want to add a little bit more water. I like to paint more on the watery side of watercolor. That's the beauty of it. So I create, so to say, a skirt underneath this construction, and then I imagine how the petals will be organized on the top. You can see much less of them. I dilute them a little bit more. And create some kind of this story. And with the tip of the brush, with a little bit darker yellow, I add some darker brush strokes. And a hint of lemon yellow in between. So it will also look bright and cheerful. And a small little drop of burnt sienna in the area between this skirt and area which grows up. Let's put it on a stem, small one here. Close the stem right here. Let's paint a complicated part, a leaf. To paint a leaf, I suggest we get a lot of water, our watery green mix, and firstly we outline it. Start with painting an arrow like this, then it's really an arrow, then a little bit body of the leaf, and then a couple of more these funny arrow looking details, and then minimize it basically to the size of the stem. Then wash your brush and quickly go inside the shape, water it, dissolve the outline. You can add middle vein, something from deeper, darker greens you have. Can be a little bit more bold on the bottom, like this. Let's add more details here. Something like this. Lift it slightly. Go over details, a bit of contrast for the bottom leaves. Middle vein. Ready. I would like to add one more leaf on the background. First, just one line, which will be the middle vein. Then with pretty watery mix, I will create these arrow shapes. The more we are getting towards the middle, the smaller they are. And I just, using my watery brush, brush loaded with water, I dissolve the outline and bring it into the middle. And I can also add middle vein right here. Bit of dark. You see, once we added a little bit of darker green, our yellow popped up. We can repeat same trick here. The paper is still wet. That allow us to create smooth mixes like this. it's ready. Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope it was fun. Please let me know in comments what would you like to paint next? What painting ideas do you have for the 100-day project? And see you soon. Bye bye.